Welcome, everyone, to another deep dive. This time, we're delving into the life of Lilly Weissbrod. And let me tell you, it's anything but ordinary.
It really isn't. We're going beyond the usual dates and achievements to uncover the fascinating contradictions that make her story so unique.
Exactly. We've got this incredible mix of personal stories from her family, like little snapshots of her life, alongside more formal biographical info. It's like piecing together a puzzle, but with these really intriguing pieces.
Right. You don't always know how they fit together at first glance, but as you start to connect them, this really vivid picture emerges.
Okay, so to set the stage, let's start with a quick timeline of Lily's life, and then we're going to dive into all those surprising contradictions that make her so captivating.
Sounds good to me.
All right, picture this. Austria in 1929. That's where it all begins.
And you know what's striking is how her early life was instantly intertwined with those tumultuous times in Europe. Think about it. She's just a young girl when the Nazis come to power.
Yeah, talk about a crash course in understanding the world.
Absolutely. But thankfully, her family sees the danger and they manage to escape to Palestine. This experience alone speaks volumes about the resilience she carried throughout her life.
It really does.
Yeah.
But it doesn't stop there. I mean, Lily was a force. As a teenager, she joins the Haganah, that's the underground Jewish defense organization, right when the fight for an independent Israel is heating up.
Exactly. And then, when the War of Independence breaks out, she's right there, serving in the newly formed Israeli Air Force.
It's like stepping into a history book.
It really is. And for those who might not know, this was a pivotal moment in Israel's history. Imagine being part of those very first years, witnessing the birth of a nation and playing a direct role in its defense.
Absolutely. But then, in a twist that surprises absolutely no one who knew her, she gets married, starts a family, and then decides, you know what? I think I'll pursue a PhD in sociology at the London School of Economics.
Like it was just another Tuesday, right? But that was Lily always pushing boundaries.
Seriously,
Yep.
she was basically adding world-renowned academic to an already incredible life story.
And her academic work wasn't just some side pursuit. She dove headfirst into researching and writing about some of the most complex issues facing Israel. We're talking Zionism, Israeli identity, Arab-Israeli relations. She tackled them all fearlessly.
Fearlessly is right. And her insights, especially in her two published books, offered these really nuanced perspectives that were so crucial in a time of huge change and, let's be honest, sometimes turmoil in Israel.
Yeah, she never shied away from the tough questions, that's for sure.
Okay, so far, we've established that Lily was brilliant, accomplished, and undeniably shaped by some major historical events. But, and this is where things get really interesting, remember those personal stories we mentioned? Those details that add those extra layers?
Oh, yeah. They paint a very different picture, don't they?
They really do. They paint a picture of a woman full of these surprising contradictions. It's these contradictions, these unexpected quirks that make Lily's story so compelling.
Right. Like you wouldn't think someone so accomplished would have certain, let's say, interesting habits.
Exactly. Take her views on technology, for instance.
Oh, tell me about it. You've got this woman, right, using computers well into her 90s, eager to learn anything and everything online. Astronomy, biology, you name it.
And yet, this is the same woman who refused to get a dishwasher.
A microwave.
A new bed, even.
Yeah,
It makes you wonder about her relationship with progress, doesn't it?
absolutely. I mean, we tend to put people into these neat little boxes. You're either tech savvy or you're traditional.
But Lily just blows those categories out of the water.
Totally. It seems like she embraced technology, but on her own terms. A tool for learning, staying connected.
But not for making life more convenient, apparently.
Exactly. Which, I kind of admire.
Me too. And it's like that with her politics, too. Talk about complex. Here's this woman who saw the fight for Israel's independence firsthand, served in the military, dedicated her academic life to understanding Israeli society.
But then she goes and votes for the Russian Immigrants Party. It doesn't seem to fit, does it?
Not at first glance, no. So how do we make sense of that?
Well, for me, it points to this incredible independent spirit, this willingness to think for herself, challenge the status quo.
She wasn't bound by ideology or expectations. She made her own choices based on the issues and the people involved.
Absolutely. She was driven by her own internal compass. And speaking of defying expectations, this brings us to maybe the most fascinating contradiction of all, what I like to call the peace-loving hawk.
It's quite a contrast, isn't it? On one hand, you've got her service in the Haganah, then the Israeli Air Force.
Yeah.
This clear commitment to defending her nation.
But on the other hand, she was deeply troubled by violence, especially within Israeli society itself.
Her reaction to Prime Minister Rabin's assassination was particularly telling. She couldn't fathom it. The idea that an Israeli citizen could do such a thing, it shook her deeply.
It did. And it reveals this profound belief in dialogue, in finding common ground, even in the face of conflict. It reminds us that experiencing the harsh realities of war doesn't erase the hope for peace.
Exactly. These aren't mutually exclusive things, no matter how much we try to simplify.
We do, don't we? We love to put things into neat categories.
When in reality, it's those contradictions, those complexities that make us human. And Lily's approach to education, another perfect example. Throughout her life, she just had this natural instinct for teaching, for sharing what she knew.
Oh, absolutely. It's evident in all these little stories. Teaching sewing in Tehran, then English in Israel, even offering extra help in schools during her retirement. She never stopped.
And then there's that story her grandson told about her, shall we say, unconventional approach to sex education.
The infamous dog demonstration.
You said it. Definitely not your typical biology lesson.
Definitely not. But again, it speaks to her unorthodox methods, her belief in experiential learning. She clearly wasn't afraid to push boundaries or tackle potentially awkward topics head on, and makes you wonder what other surprises she had up her sleeve throughout the years.